Ryan Davis Races, and you can too. Today, I'm off to get a bike fit from my friend Brent. If you've been watching the channel, a couple weeks ago I got a brand new bike from KHS Bikes. Super stoked about that. And there's my new little honey pie stuffed in the back, ready to rock. And it occurred to me when I got this new bike that I have not been fit on a bike since, I know exactly when, 2011, when another good friend of mine, Jim, gave me a fit, which was fantastic and lasted for a lot of years. But 2011 to 2019, that's a pretty good spell. I'm willing to bet that my flexibility or age has impacted my ability to bend over on a bike. In fact, I hesitate there because I feel like I'm in better shape. I feel like I'm more flexible. I feel like I'm fitter, stronger now than I was then even. I would like to just let everyone know that I'm tired of this now. Yep. Let's truck on out to the bike shop. And bike shop. Miserable today. Oh my gosh. Half snow, half rain. Hey! Got all the way out here, realized I forgot my pedals because I was really smart and put everything in my backpack, and then I forgot my whole backpack. So.
Pretty much body geometry's philosophy, and we use Retul technology to kind of assist in the fitting. And BG's fit philosophy is essentially just to make the bike fit the rider, not the rider fit the bike. A little bit more extensive process as far as swapping out parts and all that sort of stuff, but it generally ends up in a result that's a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more sustainable for most people. Okay. It's kind of like motion capture, essentially works like that, but it uses a LED light signals and gives me all sorts of data on the computer to be able to...
Is that what we're going to do today?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
It gives me more feedback than just what the rider tells me.
Okay.
But ultimately, that's what we rely on, is your feedback and what's comfortable. The computer is a good assistant,
yeah.
But ultimately it just comes down to what's most comfortable for the person riding the bike. We're pretty much sure that you're riding this bike this season, so we'll use this, and that way, I don't have to make adjustments on that and then move everything over to your bike.
So if we switch the bike in the basement to the bike that you're going to race with, or do you switch the try to get the measurements exact, or do you feel like there's a benefit to riding the bike you're going to race in training, I guess?
If you can get the measurements exactly the same on your trainer bike, you're probably in a pretty good spot.
Okay.
I think specificity is a pretty good thing, so riding the bike that you're going to race on is not a bad idea either. I think a lot of times when you're riding on the trainer, people have a tendency to sit up more, or when we're out on the road, most of us are in a lower, more aero position,
right?
Because you can tell the difference in wind noise and you go slower and stuff like that. So I think a lot of times it's that transition of getting used to riding in that little bit lower position. So
good point. All right, friends, let's talk about some tips when it comes to bike fit. A really important thing is Brent ran me through a number of physical tests to figure out what my hip angle was, and that really indicates how low I could go mathematically. And then we got on the bike and played around with that. So I can go lower, but it's just not quite the right time of the season to go lower. But it's good to know that I could. So the balance here is really performance versus comfort. What can you get away with without hurting your back or your shoulders or something like that? Because every little bit you get lower, you are more aerodynamic. All right, so let's talk about your seat height and the concept of rocking hips. If your friends see you rocking your hips, that means you have a seat height problem. If you have persistent pain, obviously go get that checked by a professional so it doesn't get worse and hinder your ability to stay on the bike. A little tip here, grab a seat post sticker or some electrical tape and wrap that around where your seat post meets your seat tube. So if it slips, you'll know. And this happened to two of my teammates last year where they slipped and ended up having some pretty severe knee pain because they didn't realize that happened. All right, now grab a Sharpie and mark on your saddle rails where your saddle sits on the clamp so you can replace it in case you crash or something happens. While you have the Sharpie out, outline your cleats on the bottom of your shoe so you know where your cleats belong. Grab a mirror or set up a camera and watch yourself on the trainer and just get a sense of how you look on the bike. Do you look comfortable? Could you go lower? All right, and the one that I like the most is that thinking about your fit evolving over the course of a season. This one's really critical for me. I tried to slam my stem, so to speak, a few years ago, and it didn't work at all. Got a lot of pain. Brent introduced me to the fact that I could slowly, gradually lower that stack height over time throughout the season because you'll get more fit as the season goes on, and that was absolutely true. I was able to drop, I think, 10 millimeters last year, and this year on this bike, I think I can definitely drop another 5.5 to get that slam stem and maybe even extend the stem longer at a negative angle to get more aero. That's the goal when it comes to crit racing. More aero equals more speed, and that's why you should get a bike fit. All right, fit is done. Had a great session with Brent. Really got a lot of good information. There's a whole bunch of things that he mentioned I think are really important, but one thing that I'd never considered about a fit before was the concept of getting the back half of the bike right, like the hips and knees and feet and cleats and all that stuff, and then the front end is definitely much more about experimentation over time, and that changes frequently throughout the season, right? So like you start the season with 10 millimeters of stack and you bring that down, bring a spacer down, and that's a concept that actually Brent taught me last year, is that you're not committed to that size forever or that stem angle. Just try it. Maybe you'll get looser as the season goes on. So really important to consider that fit is a fluid thing and it changes from time to time. So getting a tweak or a check-in with Brent maybe once a year is probably a good idea. Do a couple hours, settle into the fit, see what I like, and then I'll catch up with you guys afterward.
Pawning so bad, I've got a big
First ride on the KHS after getting my fit, and things felt really good. I just changed a couple things. I tilted the saddle down just a hair. I might drop my saddle height, like literally a 0.5 millimeter is about it. It's funny how you fit into the bike after a little bit of time on the trainer. So that was a 2-hour ride, and at first I thought, oh, this stem is too long, I'm too extended, I'm too upright, and then by the end of it I'm like, oh, I feel great. I feel really on the bike, or in the bike I guess would be a better word. So really happy with how it's developed so far. I can definitely see where once I get some miles on me outdoors, I might drop that stem, even that one more spacer, and maybe even extend it or drop the degrees, because I think I can get a little bit lower. Definitely some differences with muscle, which is what I was saying of getting rid of my winter bike and starting to ride on this bike, because I want to get used to that muscle memory of what the race bike actually feels like. So for instance, I know my hamstrings were feeling more stressed today than they would have been normally on the old bike. That's it for the fit. I'm really happy with it. Yeah. If you like what I had to say, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, let me know your experiences with bike fits or what you've done to solve some pain. I've had knee pain in the past and come up with a creative solution to fix that. Not really, I didn't come up with it, but a physical therapist, no, doctor, well, whatever he is, gave me some really great advice that I'm happy to share in the comments. Okay, bye.
I've got a big fat, big. Listen!